Okay, so I read this recent one,
Ghouliana's Sanctuary for Monsters. So good.
Oh, thank you.
Unexpectedly heartwarming. Like, I wasn't expecting there to be like such a sweet kind of lesson and story at the end. So before I get into the actual story, I kind of want to ask you, like, just basically, how did you get from, like, you're in a heavy metal band and you're doing coloring books, like, how did you get from one to the other?
I actually started in art.
Okay.
So I went to the High School of Art and Design for one semester. And believe it or not, in an art school, there was a lot of violence. And so for a little ninth grader, I was like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And I transferred schools. I went to the local Brooklyn High School, which is where I met my bandmates. But we were both very artistic, me and the guitar player, Joey. And we both graduated at Brooklyn School, and I ended up getting a scholarship to SVA, and we both ended up there. And so we continued to work on the band while we were going to art school, and I had every intention to like graduate and like take my portfolio around in Marvel and DC and like end up like getting coffee for somebody there. But the band got signed in the senior year, and I figured, you know, you only do this music thing once. What's the chances getting signed? You know, I'm self-taught. I didn't go for lessons or anything.
Respect.
And so we put out the record, and I said, you know what, I'll jump in the band with these guys for 6 months and see what happens. If not, I'll just take my portfolio around afterwards. And here we are. We're like celebrating our 30-year anniversary of our second album today. It came out today. And we're in the middle of doing an anniversary tour. We just finished the U.S. leg. I came home to do this and a couple more events, and then we go out to Europe in November. So it kind of worked out, you know, because like I think around 2009 I got the itch again to like put out my own story. And it's so funny because the guy that gave me my first chance, I just saw him over there at the signing. His name is Chris Ryle, and he was the editor-in-chief of IDW in that time period. And it's a funny story because I didn't know he was the editor-in-chief. And I had just gotten on Twitter. I made my account. I started following all my favorite comic artists and writers. He was one of the writers that I started following. He wrote horror comics. And I posted this little trailer from my book that I wanted to put out called Wire Hangers. And he goes, what are you doing with that book? And I was like, well, you know, I was going to self-publish it. He goes, you want to do it with us? And I was confused because I just saw he was this writer. He was like, I was like, how would that work? And he was like, well, I'm the editor-in-chief of IDW. And I was like, what?
Amazing.
And so once they signed me up to do that book, I was like, I better come up with more ideas because I want to do this, you know? And so like before the end of that run, that Wire Hangers series, I had pitched them Crawl to Me, and then I did that series with them, and then Killogy. And so by that time, it was about 2015, 2016, and I already had some credibility here. And the editor-in-chief at the time, this guy Jerry Bennington, and I remember it was April Fool's Day, and I was like, what do you think about a horror-themed adult coloring book? Because they were everywhere at that time, you know, like Johanna Bastard's books were everywhere. And in the grocery store, but there was nothing for horror fans. It was all nature books and mandalas or whatever. So I was like, what do you think about a horror coloring book? And they said yes, like in 15 minutes. I got the email back. It was like, greenlit, let's go. And I was like, how many pages is it? And they were like, 88. And I was like, what? Double-sided?
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden it became like this big daunting project. Like, how am I going to do this thing? First of all, drawing a coloring book versus graphic novels like I have been doing, you take away all the color, all the thick line work, all the shadows. It's just bare bones I really had to like relearn how to, you know, draw a book like that. So there was like a good 2 months where I was making practice pages, and then I got really into it. And I was like, I'm gonna make this book for all the horror fans. Like, I'm going out there. If one doesn't exist, this is gonna be the one.
Yeah.
Because the only other one that was out there was like a Walking Dead coloring book, which was, the book was already in black and white. You know what I mean? They just put it out so you could color it.
Yeah.
How are you? Yeah, so then I made my list. Okay, we got vampires, werewolves, zombies, witches. What else could we do? By halfway through the book, I came up with this creepy girl, Ghouliana, and she kind of became the face of the whole thing. And thank God. Because every book after that had a theme that she was involved in. And it really became like my focus for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And next year will be 10 years.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Where did Ghouliana come from? Like, where did she come from inside you? Like, where did she come from?
My daughter's name is Gianna. So she kind of grew up with the series.
Love that. How old is your daughter?
She's coming tomorrow. She's going to be 18 in November.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So she was like this little one. You know, she was 8.
When it first started. Yeah, that's true. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How does she feel about this, like, the Ghouliana and the evolution of her, and now she's got a little story? Like, does she
How does she feel about it?
Yeah, how does she feel about it? Does she like it?
Well, here's the thing with my daughter, right? She grew up on, like, My Little Pony and all that stuff. So when I was drawing the books in my office, I have this, like, skull rug that she would play on with and line up all her ponies and stuff. And so she was always around it, you know, but it took her a long time to get into like horror because she was such a girly girl with all the rainbows and sparkles, and she wore a dress everywhere. And then she got into a phase in junior high, I would say, that she got into different types of music. All of a sudden she's listening to Deftones and MCR and all these bands. And her taste changed, and she got into like horror movies. I took her to see Barbarian when she was like 16, so now we're like horror pals.
That's amazing. I love it. I have a daughter myself, so I'm always curious about that. That's awesome.
So you know.
Yeah. So you said you're about to go on tour. You're writing this. She mentioned you were doing Conjuring. How are you balancing all that? That feels like a lot of 88 pages. Like,
I don't sleep a lot. I really don't. A lot of times, like, if I go to, like, the Beauty Horror website and I see all the books, I'm like, how did that happen? Like, I don't realize. But I'm pretty nonstop. Even on tour, like, I just got back from 2 weeks in the States. And the way we travel is a lot of hours to kill. So I'm, like, writing a Ghouliana novel on my phone. I'm, like, 4 chapters deep. You know, it'll happen, you know.
Nice.
But I like to stay busy.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel that. When you're creating this stuff, how much, especially for this one, when you were writing the detail, how hard is it to write? Like, you're writing and you're doing double time, writing and color, or writing and drawing.
Yeah.
How tempting is it to write the reader into coloring what you want? Like, you use sometimes use descriptors like Agatha's hair color and her eyes. Like, but that'll obviously influence the reader to color in that way. How hard is it to pull yourself back from giving the reader more direction in that way?
Well, this one was very intentional.
Yeah.
But so many of the books, I'm very surprised with the way that people attempt to color it. In fact, you could take the same page colored by 10 different people and have 10 very different results. And in fact, they use different mediums, and some people paint nail polish or sparkles or watercolor. You know, people go nuts.
Yeah.
So, and I don't really have a vision for color. Coloring's very hard for me, ironically. But like coloring the first bunch of graphic novels that I did, I'm always stuck. It's always a difficult process.
Yeah.
I don't really picture things in color.
Really?
I like black and white.
Yeah.
I like gray tones and
yeah.
like this looks complete to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel that. So when you're picking like monster, what's the monster criteria? Like, is it just whatever is the coolest to draw, or are you trying to pick across like for like anything like legendary? You had the Yeti, you had Loch Ness. Like, how are you sourcing your monsters?
Mostly the monsters that made the big impact on my childhood. So Loch Ness Monster. I always got hooked into like the conspiracies as a kid, the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes.
Did we go to the moon? All these crazy things, and they all ended up in the book.
Yeah. Love that. Wait, are you? Yeah, that makes sense. So I actually really enjoy the way your writing is in this. Like, it's very like darkly poetic.
Oh, wait, one thing.
Yeah?
At the very start of COVID, and my family could attest to this, when we were all locked in going crazy, I went down the Bigfoot rabbit hole.
Oh my God.
So like YouTube videos and like, that really does look real though, but watch this one. So that's why the Yeti's in there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a good tea. So how do you balance, like with this one, there are some pages that are text heavy, some that are full draw. How do you like figure out what goes where and how much text it goes on?
If you flip through it,
yeah,
I really try to keep the layouts very different from spread to spread, and keep it interesting visually, even if you weren't reading it.
Yeah.
So like I really wanted to give like sometimes little spotlights on the action, or sometimes if it was like a big scene of the atrium, I tried to do things like that. And even with the ingredients, like how would it look in a, if someone was saving ingredients for some kind of potion.
Yeah, that's cool.
But really just to look at it more as a whole instead of page by page, and even the way that the text follows the art, everything was very deliberate.
Yeah, this was probably my favorite spread. Just like her arrival was so ominous, and like that's crazy. Like, you can create a character that scares other monsters. Like, what is the inspiration for that? Like, I get you, Ghouliana is like inspired by your daughter, but like, why write her like where other monsters are scared of her? I like that. That was cool.
I was a little worried that she showed up too late in the book. In fact, I had a whole prologue.
Yeah.
But it was 88 pages. We had to keep the count to 88, so I omitted that. It would have been even longer by the time that she got there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I kind of like that she shows up in the middle.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it fits well with the story, and like the build up with the uncle and Agatha. And I think I wasn't expecting it to be as sweet as it was, because it's the beauty for it's a horror thing. I was like, I'm looking to it. I thought it was sweet that Agatha kind of became her mentor. And where did that come from? Why did you write that instead of anything else?
It's just a story that came to me. I always looked at mostly films that have emotional undertones. They're the ones that get me all the time.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that stay with me the most. So I think I wanted to have that feeling in it. And also, a lot of the properties that I illustrate are in the process of being developed into TV, animation, and film. And so I could see the story being adapted.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I would, in a film version, I would definitely want that emotional tie.
Yeah. I like that. This is awesome. Actually, I have this question. When you were talking about you were believing in conspiracy theories, did you ever believe in the flat Earth theory?
No, I didn't go that far.
I was trying to gauge where you were at.
I've been in an airplane.
Very good point.
But don't talk to my singer about that.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Wait, do you all have like different conspiracy theories?
Oh yeah, we laugh a lot.
That's so funny. So you're kind of like, I go on
the ice wall.
The ice wall. Right. Literally nothing, just
The
drops.
firmament.
So you believe a man is holding up on his shoulders? That's amazing.
It's just like a big contact lens.
It's a big contact lens. Yes. That's hilarious. Wait, so is your music or like the guys in your band, do they inspire anything in your books, like, drawing wise?
Well, we have a lot of similarities. We've known each other our whole lives since kids. So me and my singer actually collaborate on art sometimes. He's more of like an abstract painter, like a Jackson Pollock or something like that. And so like he would have these big splattered drawings, paintings, and then I would go in and fine tune like characters over it. We collaborate like that. And on this last tour, we took a bunch of those canvases and then did a custom artwork for fans and things like that.
Yeah. I was looking, when I was looking you up a little bit, I saw a lot of people talking about your art on the coloring subreddits. Like, you're very kind of a legend for people who are like aspiring colorists, and there were a lot of comments on the concept you use and the unique concepts that you bring into. Like, how do you keep finding new things to draw for Ghouliana? Like, you did the museum, and you have this music, which is really fucking cool.
Out of desperation. Because I wanted to keep going, but even like some of the topics, like I'm not that familiar with. So like the famous artwork book. My wife said that you should do a famous. I was like, that's a great idea. Except I don't know anything about famous art. In fact, in School of Visual Arts, as soon as we would learn about art history in the big lecture hall, and they would have the famous artwork projected on the screen, and there must have been 2,000 people in there. As soon as they would shut the lights and put the projector on, I was out cold. I didn't learn anything in art history, so like I could have had that opportunity, and the book would have been super easy to draw, but I didn't know really much about it, and so I had to do a lot of research.
You get to learn while you're drawing. That's cool, though. That's a cool process. Out of desperation.
I learned a lot. But like, but this book, like the Backwards Records book,
I'm sure that was like, you know,
there was a lot that I wanted to do that I couldn't include.
Yeah, the Go-Go's one, so good. That's my favorite. So good. One more question, because we're 3 minutes. What's your take on AI generated coloring books? It's a very big swing, but I've seen a lot of people complaining that when they buy a book without an author, it's typically AI generated. Like, what do you think about that kind of coming into the space?
Well, I've heard a lot about them, but I haven't seen one with my own eyes yet. I've seen some pictures with multiple limbs, and things like that AI can't get right yet.
Yeah.
But as it gets better, it's going to be really hard to tell, I think.
I know.
And, just like video. And so it's concerning. But it's also like I've been one to embrace technology. I've used AI to make animated trailers for projects and things like that. So I'm not against AI. I do see the stance that like Marvel and DC have taken just this last weekend.
Yeah.
A hard stance on no AI art and stuff, and I get that. It definitely hurts the art community, and I know a lot of artists that have felt deliberately like ripped off of their style and stuff. At the same time, I remember drawing my first book digitally. And the hurdle that was, and you're drawing the book without the authentic tools,
That's true, yeah.
And so, and even using Photoshop, these things are like a big stigma for a period of time, and then they're embraced because it's just another tool. If you use the tool for good, and not to rip people off, there are benefits. So I'm kind of caught in the middle because I do see the future, and I use AI myself for certain other things. I don't think it would work for my series.
Yeah, for sure.
And it takes the fun out of drawing it. It really is a passion project. Every single book, even though even though it's been very successful. It's still a challenge for me. Every book, coming up with the theme, and then now integrating a story into it. You know, I do these things not because someone told me to do it, but because I thought it would be fun to do, and fun for fans.
Yeah, thank you. That was a really good answer, and I appreciate your honesty on that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time. We have to wrap up here.